Live from iRacing's virtual Homestead Miami Speedway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to Race 4 of the 2024 RealSimRacing IceBreaker Winter Series. We are down to the final race on the 2023 side of the calendar, and as always, happy that you're spending your Monday with us here on RaceSpot. Trackside is Derek Watson with myself, Evan Pasoko. We're happy to be here with you as NASCAR Gen 4 action heads to the Homestead Miami Speedway. Derek, for the first time of this calendar, it is a repeat style of the tracks that we've seen. We've gotten a super speedway in Daytona, we've been to an intermediate in Chicago, and we've been to one of the bigger 2-mile ovals in Michigan. So it's a first repeat trip back to an intermediate racetrack. But Homestead and Chicago, the only thing they've really got in common is that they're a ton of fun. Other than that, these racetracks so unique. I know this one has been circled on the calendar for many of these drivers.
In the Gen 4 style of car, you know, for the drivers who love these cars, this is like the most wonderful time of the year, Evan. This really comes back to the time when championship races were at Homestead, lots of dramatic and historic finishes, and so really they're all looking forward to it. But the challenges in that progressive banking will be massive here tonight, all night long.
It is going to be a challenge. It is also going to be what makes this race so exciting. Of course, after this 2 weeks off for the Christmas and New Year break, and then we don't yet know what we're going to be doing for round number 5. Yep, that driver vote going to take place during that time off, and we will see what the drivers pick for round number 5 of the calendar. Here's how your championship standings look coming into race number 4. No shock, that's Seth the Merchant, who has had an astounding 1-2-1 finishes so far this year. Sits atop the points, a healthy margin over Grant Davis in second. Couple of surprises though. Nathan Jurgensen up in the mix. He's inside of the top 3. Malik Ray 7th with only 2 starts has been the other storyline, with Malik winning at Chicago and then coming second to Seth just a week ago in Michigan.
Yeah, a great points battle going on here. And really, as you know, the talk has been Seth the Merchant and that lead he has, but with no drop weeks here in this list, really one bad night, and it could be a lot of good news for a lot of drivers here. But you know, Cody Harris, Malik Ray, Michael Laria, Ross Cato jump up a bunch of spots after last week. So exciting points battle with lots left to go here.
And without those drops, it is going to likely keep somebody like a Malik Ray out of the championship battle. He may make up enough points on the likes of 5th and 4th and 3rd and maybe even 2nd if he continues to compete and if he continues to finish with the success that he has had. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to get to Seth the Merchant unless Seth misses a race. There was a little bit of pre-race chatter that Seth the Merchant may have been at risk of missing this race. He had had some power issues with a storm in the area earlier in the day. Seth is in the sim and he is on track now as we take a live look in at the final moments of practice. Seth currently sitting towards the bottom of the leaderboard, but having just got on track, likely saving his stuff for the qualifying session, which is just a little bit more than a minute away as we take a live look in at the track conditions. And for this winter series, the date and time settings fall to the default iRacing day, so it is not too bad down here in Florida this time of year, but not quite 78 degrees as a high or 116 degrees track temp. It's about May, I think, in the service, and that's what these drivers are going to be working with.
Yeah, and that's good news for them because, as you said, if this race was set, you know, July or August when it's really hot, the track would be more slick than it is right now. So, you know, it's the default time and date. You know, if it were up to me, I kind of wish it were a night race. I think night races at Homestead are magic. That wiggle there as you saw it right there. But yeah, a great time here. So the track should be manageable, or as manageable as progressive banking could be here. I think we're just about to get to qualifying here in about 20 seconds.
You're just waiting for the open qualifying session to kick off. It has been a point of discussion amongst the drivers as we were taking a look there at Nathan Jurgensen. Now we jump around to the number 94 up on the outside of the racetrack. That, of course, Agno Phillip. Underneath him, Andrew Freenosh, two of the very best all-time in RSR history. But it was not a good week for Agno Phillip last time out, involved in an accident at the Michigan International Speedway. I believe he went on to finish way down the running order in that race 21st, and that means that the defending Winter Series champion 14th in the standings, not what we were expecting to see out of Agnell, especially because he's competed in all three races so far this season. But that controversial open qualifying is now open. Some drivers like it, some drivers hate it, but the clock is ticking down from 5 minutes, and within that time frame, you can attempt as many laps as you can. All cars, I should say, on track at the same time. As always, though, even with single car runs, Derek, the caveat being you need a clean lap. In order for your lap time to be allowed, that means no wall contact, no incidents, and these drivers going to be right on the fence, even on the warm-up lap on board there with Agno Phillip.
And that point you made about the no wall contact, Evan, that's so important because we talked to a lot of drivers tonight before this, and there's a really difference of opinion about the appropriate lines to take here at Homestead. And a lot of people want to take what you referred to earlier as like the Ross Chastain or the Kyle Larson line and be up against that wall. The danger in doing that in qualifying is if you tap the wall, the service likely will disqualify your lap. So you're really living on the edge up there. And in that lap, you see Agnell kind of getting a little bit down on the entry to the lines here to make sure he doesn't tap the wall. I think this will be a live lap right here. We'll see where it ranks.
You can see all the drivers up the road from him watching on. 33.788 is the lap time for Agno Phillip. Notably, no lap time for the two cars ahead of him, so their time's disallowed for one reason or another. Freenosh tentatively goes second on the board, Windmaster third, as these laps continue to tick in, and Cody Harris top of the board. 33.704. Tice jumps to third. We'll see a lot of movement in these early minutes. Brett Larson across the stripe in the 80 car. He will go either maybe a warm-up lap for Larson, not currently scored on the board, so he's now on his flyer. Cato jumps into a top 5 spot. Windmaster improves for third, and now Nathan Jurgensen top of the board in that 31 car, only to be snatched away by Andrew Freenosh.
Yeah, Freenosh, of course, has a lot of experience at this track here in his years dealing with eNASCAR. So not a surprise. In fact, that was a topic we can talk about later, but I heard some drivers say earlier that they thought some of the former eNASCAR or current eNASCAR drivers would have the advantage here due to the focus that, you know, the Coke Series has put on this track. Now we're going to ride on Grant Davis, comes into tonight's second in points here, and this will be a warm-up lap, I'm pretty sure, based on that time. And now he'll start his live lap here.
Davis still looking to put down a lap time. Still no times are lapped for Grindle, Shed, Coyle, Wetmore, Kane, Kamer, and then Malik Ray, the big one who is missing a lap time, no longer top of the board as the one goes to P1. Malik Ray, 15 1/1000ths better than Andrew Freenosh. Grant Davis has been in the conversation. What does he get as he comes off at turn number 4, looking to see where the 24 car goes on the speed charts? Not enough. Only good enough for 18th at the moment. Agno Phillip 5th tentatively. He's looking to beat a 33.700. That's his best lap of the night. The pole is a 33.681. Can't get either. 33.902 for Agno Phillip. Still with a minute and 20 seconds to play with. He's going to keep going.
Yeah, going to keep going and see if he can maybe get one more lap out of that, I suspect, before he kills the run and wants to start over. With only about a minute and 10 seconds left here, if you want to kill your run and get started again, you need to do it now. And in fact, that's what Windmaster's going to do here, is get down there, probably reset that car and get back on track, because with the length of time these laps take, you know, with the open qualifying rules, you have to be on the lap in order to be allowed. Oh, finish it. And there's Sam Nieto. That's all on the wall. That's going to be an invalid lap.
And look at that top of the board. Malik Ray is 5th. In the blink of an eye, Harris, Freenash, Kamer, Phillip all do better than the one car. And all of a sudden, Malik Ray is playing from behind. And I don't know if he's going to be able to get around to start his next lap. Sam Nieto completes the lap as he tries to improve, nearly runs into some cars on the pit exit there. Kamer sitting 3rd. He looks to improve, but these drivers have got about 20 seconds to make sure they're on a lap. Malik Ray improves to 2nd. Blade Witt goes to the top of the scoring pylon.
That was my Blade Witt, a surprising name who we've seen in action here, but not seen the top of the qualifying board so far this season. But came up there and set down a lap, and everyone there is on pit road, so they're done. So there's only a couple of people left. Here's Seth the Merchant going to try to make a run at it, and 33.4 is going to put him 6th on the board.
Yeah, room for improvement. It's a good starting spot, but not what Seth, I think, would like. His benefit, of course, is his incredible speed on the long run. Jared Winemaster is 12th at the moment. Does he improve? He does into 2nd. What a jump for Jared Winemaster. The buzzer beater, good enough for P2. Behind him, Larson across the line does improve to 19th position. And Andrew Freenash behind the wheel of the 88 car. Down the back straightaway, though, checkered flag has been out. I don't think he's going to get enough time. He's going to come up about a half a turn short. Clock strikes 0, and that is it. Freenash will not get to complete that final lap, and that may have been the most movement we've seen so far this season in RSR Open qualifying. So let's go down trackside and take a look now at your RealSimRacing starting grid for round number 4 here in the Sunshine State, and it is indeed Blade Witt on pole position. A bit of a surprise there, not doubting his speed, but first time we've seen that quality performance out of him this season is 33.484. Going to put him on pole, and Jared Winemaster, the late fast lap, puts the Canadian up to P2. Back on road 2, Malik Ray looking for his 2nd win of the year. He'll start 3rd alongside Agnell Phillip in 4th. Kyle Kamer starting 5th, and Andrew Freenash good enough for P6.
Going back to P7, your current points are set to Merchant with Michael Lorio in P8. And then row number 5, Nathan Jerkinson and Cody Harris, 9th and 10th. And then Sam Nieto and Ross Cato, 11th and 12th, back in row number 6.
That means Michael Guest gets lucky number 13 tonight. Joseph Tice alongside him on row number 7 and 14th. Galen Gidman will start 15th. Tom Wetmore from 16th. Grant Davis, 17th. And Chris Owens, his first start of the season, P18.
Menacee Major and Brett Larson round up row number 10 and 19th and 20th. Don Stevenson, 21st, and William Schmidt, 22nd. And then Nicholas Mara and Mike Maddox, 23rd and 24th.
And to round out things towards the tail end here, 25th to Eric Papadow. Sean Kalist will get 26th position. DeAndre Kane, 27th. Dylan Coyle, 28th. And then provisionals will go to Carl Shedd at 29th. Doug Roth, 30th, and Harry Grindle in 31st. Those bottom 3 cars not taking a time in the qualifying session, and therefore their grid position handed out based on the iRacing default tiebreaker. So, as we get set to roll, I know we've talked about it, but let's talk a little bit more about this Homestead Miami Speedway. Derek, 1.5 miles in length, 100 laps on the board this afternoon. That's 150 miles from green to checker. These corners progressively banked, 18 degrees on the bottom, 20 up top. If we see green flag pit stops, the access road that the cars on the inside line are currently taking will be a storyline both on pit in and pit out. Short race, though, so likely only one opportunity at that, if any. But that is another unique characteristic of Homestead. But this racetrack had hosted the NASCAR Championship race for so long once it moved away from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Beautiful facility. And the benefit is in the sim, at least for now in the sim, there's no rain. So it's a nice sunshiny day here in Homestead.
Yeah, and that progressive banking really is the story for most drivers, and how to handle that banking as it does change throughout the corner depending upon where you are. And so you can really unsettle a car by trying to move too many lanes or trying to get a little too cheeky with the actions you take here. Of course, there's that famous story, Evan, where Tony Stewart was the first driver to get a peek at this. He convinced a security guard to give him a ride around the track before it opened to all the drivers.
and went on to win a championship here. We're happy that you're all with us on RaceSpotTV. Last race of the 2023 calendar. Let's go racing at Homestead. Three wide for the race lead. Malik Ray goes to the middle. Wide master backs out topside. Ripping the fence up there is Michael Laraya, but down the back straightaway. Malik Ray's got the speed and a nose in front of Blade Witt.
All right, it's already they're 3 wide already, and they backed out of it, but that's a hint of what we're going to see all day long. As now as a driver peeking up the high hill, and I think it rode up there, but now they're 3 wide again here. Going to complete the first lap, and already a lot of craziness here. A lot of positions have changed in that first lap. Blade Witt, though, the surprise to me, Evan. Wow, what a great run here so far. It's only 1 lap, but what a surprise to see Blade Witt leading the field.
Well, how about Seth the Merchant? We talked about how P7 really wasn't what he wanted out of the qualifying effort, but he's known for the long-run speed. He has come out of the gate hot, already up to 3rd. He watches on as Witt and Ray stay side by side for the lead. Behind them, Michael Laraya going to jump up to 4th position. Andrew Freenosh rounding out your top 5. Much of that at the expense of Jaron Widemaster, who started this race 2nd and has slipped all the way down to 7th. As up front, Malik Ray pulls down and clears Blade Witt for the number 1 spot. It's a lap led at a bonus point for both of those cars after 2 laps.
And if you're Malik Ray right now, every bonus point matters, because obviously Malik has that goal of catching Seth the Merchant. Now, as you said earlier, without Seth having a really bad night or maybe missing a race here between now and the end of the season, it seems improbable to do that. But man, every bonus point matters. So he's going to come up here and lead a lap, and really, Malik has been sort of the example or the poster child for how to lead the most laps. That's not a guarantee it'll happen tonight, but it could. Now, look at all these cars right now, Evan. For all the talk we heard about wanting to run multiple lines and multiple grooves and multiple seams that I talked to all the drivers about, the top 10 drivers were all running that bottom groove.
Yeah, they're fighting to get down to the bottom. The only cars up high, like the 12 machine right there, is because he's trying to pass the 51 of Wetmore and company. Tom Wetmore almost 3 wide there, as the 97 of Schmidt nearly ended up underneath him. That did not happen. Now Wetmore securely on the bottom, and he is almost all the way clear of Ross Cato. Cato started up top after qualifying on the outside of row number 6 and just has not been able to find a spot down in line. These races are not long, but as this race goes on, the track gets rubbered in, and a lot of the changes that iRacing has made to the dynamic track model, what a lot of drivers have said is one of the best updates to the oval asphalt racing here in quite some time. That groove will spread out. We'll see drivers start surging as the race goes on, but the bottom has been the place to be early in this one. Not only did the 12 lose out to the 51, looks like the 97 of Schmidt cleared him, and the 5 of Joseph Tice on the bottom. The Kellogg Chevy also going to clear the 12 car, so Ross Cato finally gets in line, but not before dropping 3 spots.
And there you see now he's going to try to get down here under the 5 into turn number 3, but he's going to not get there. Talked to Joseph Tice earlier. He told me the key tonight, Evan, is going to be tire conservation. A lot of these drivers have seen the green flag runs we've had in RSR IceBreaker so far and are positive it can happen again. So that's another reason to run the bottom here. The popular belief and really the reality about running the top side is it really does chew up those tires. Look at that, Ross Cato, the little Santa hat getting the festive season.
Well, I know we're a week away from the break, so I think in about 7 days' time, Ross is going to be rocking around the Christmas tree. Tonight, he's rocking around the Homestead of Miami Speedway, and in festive spirit at that, is his car's got the snowflakes on it. There's so many cars themed to this winter series all throughout the track, and right now, though, it's been a big lump of coal for him. Again, room for improvement, down 3 spots, but he's staying calm. And again, 100 laps, not a long race, plenty of time, and that time willingly going to the outside to try to make that line work. You also saw up the road, and now as we jump back into the battle amongst your leaders, I think that was the 44 of Laraya. Laraya was ripping the wall lap 1. He'll go down in line this time in 3 to 4, but I think he was right up on the fence again in 1 and 2. So we're only 8 laps in. They're already starting to search. They're trying to wheel those other lanes into existence early. Freenosh keeps looking. Laraya has spearheaded that effort. Let's see if anybody does it in 1 and 2. The 44 stays low. Freenosh goes about a single lane up and runs the middle.
you know, sometimes the reason a driver searches for a line, Evan, even if they're right or wrong, is they believe that a car in front of them is holding them up a little bit. As we're looking here on board with Agno Phillip, you see the titles there in the background. And sometimes as a driver, you want to search and do something different because maybe you think this car's holding you up and you think you can prove that you're faster or you're better by searching those different lines. And then maybe you'll find out you're not or you are. In this case here with Larias, has to get back in line, realizing so far he can't make it happen, but wants them to know that he's willing to move around and not just, you know, play follow the leader for 100 laps here. These top three are doing a great job of staying in line, not letting the field behind them make any moves. But eventually, I'm going to guess Blade Witt and Lariah will try to make a move on Malik Ray.
And Malik was able to make the pass on lap 2, so Blade Witt, despite starting on pole, only led the opening lap of this race. It was Ray, Witt, DeMerchant. DeMerchant has slipped back to 5th after coming out of the gates hot in the 100-meter dash. Now we're in the enduro part of the marathon, so he maybe paces himself a little bit better. That allowed Lariah to get up to 3rd, Freenash to get up to 4th. And with Agno Phillip 6th, Nathan Jurgensen, who at a time sat on the tentative pole back at 9th. There is a lot of talent in the top 10. Is Blade Witt just going to send it down into turn number 3? Had a good run, committed on the entry, and that thing's going to stick off the turn as well. Nice move by the 19 car, and Blade Witt going to go back to the race lead.
That's an incredible move right there to get around Malik Ray. And right now, as you said, Blade Witt had only led 1 lap so far, but now is out here and got a nice, comfortable run right there. Almost 0.3 of a second over Malik. So great run here, and now going to try to probably search around and find that new line we were talking about.
I mean, he is cleared and gapped almost a half a second ahead of the one of Malik Ray, and now Malik in that position. Do you push to try to catch the 19, or what's going to happen behind you? Lariah tried to make an aggressive move, lost the front end a little bit through 4, and that's going to open things up for Freenash to go to the bottom. So back up top, a look at the 44 on the outside wall almost, entirely through the corner, and that's how you wind up one of these stock cars like a slot car. A huge run off of 2, using all of the 20 degrees to bank it up top. That is what makes the outside so lethal. Lariah was on the bumper. Can he get to the outside of Malik Ray? This time off of turn 4. He'll get the run again, and he'll make it side by side for 2nd.
And so a lot of people who watch this will ask, if you're maybe a relative or a friend of a driver in this race, you wonder what outside works so well. And it's really kind of the most basic answer, which is on the outside, you can put more gas in the car, a little bit more acceleration, and you get a better run off of the corner is what happens here. So while it's more dangerous, and you have to be better at it, because if you scrape that wall, then it really just kind of kills the run you have. But if you're someone like Michael Lariah, who was really excellent at staying off of that wall up there, those runs you get off of the corners compared to like a Malik Ray or other drivers on the inside can make a bunch of gap here. It's a smart move if you can make it work. Now the challenge is, as I said, not letting your car slap off that wall and kill any momentum you have.
It is a fine line, and while things simmer for the moment up front, you drop back to the tail end of the top 10. That was Michael Guest using the inside line to pass the 8 of Kyle Kamer in a battle for 9th and 10th. Kamer looks low. Guest drops down to shut the door, and he will play defense as behind them, the 97 of William Schmidt going on the offensive. He tries to get up top of the 51 Tube Tech entry of Tom Wetmore. They'll fight side by side for 10th and 11th down to turn 1 as that 2 of Sam Nieto watches on behind them.
And really this battle back here to me is a little bit more the more interesting battle in the sense these are probably the drivers who will have a harder time managing the tires. And probably in about 4 to 5 laps, you're going to start to see that battle happening not only amongst each other, but amongst the driver versus the track. These cars will begin to wiggle a little bit more. They'll begin to fishtail a little bit out of the corner. They'll be a little less stable. And that's how you're going to know these drivers have started to really wear out those tires, is based on the movements of that car, because when you've worn out the tires, it becomes much, much harder to get a good entry and good exit out of these corners.
And not a great exit there for either the 97 or the 8 car. They kind of hold each other up just a little bit. And in front of them, Michael Guest back on the offensive. We've got 2 sets of 2 here in the midfield. Just to the tail end of the top 10 is where all the fighting's going on at the moment. You're not missing anything in the battle for P1, as Bladewitt's advantage is still about 0.4 of a second. Look at all the side-by-side. A couple there. Looks like maybe 4th or 3rd has got side-by-side, and there it is with Lariah up on the outside wall again. He's going to get passed back by Malik Ray. Freenosh wants to join in, so it may not have been there in the opening 10, but the multi-groove Homestead is alive and well.
It really is alive and well, and I think for Lariah to have any success up here long term, he's going to have to get someone up there with him to help draft out of those corners and make the runs a little bit better. Maybe if Seth the Merchant would move up, or if Agno Phillip could get up there and help. Those drafting runs can help. There you see Lariah cleared the driver for a moment, and now back to the top side again. Obviously, he's comfortable up there.
Yeah, that's been his default, is when in doubt, top-sided out, and it's going to allow, again, that one Malik Ray to complete the pass, but the 44 gets that big run off of the corner that it's always close, and Malik's got to be on the money if he's going to defend the 44. And as this 3-way battle's been happening for second, look at that bright green car of Bladewitt, right? Didn't get the best of starts, then launched out to a half a second advantage. They're starting to reel him in. This battle for second starting to look like a battle for the race lead, and you could even toss DeMerchant into that. He's right there, P5. Agno Phillip in 6th, ain't too far back either. So side by side for 3rd they'll go. Freenosh still doing everything he can to make the bottom line work on the 44.
And I think the unspoken battle here, to an extent, is that battle where Malik Ray needs to get back out front soon if he wants to secure those points for most laps led. Obviously, we're only 20 laps in, but the more laps that Bladewitt leads, you know, the less Malik can lead. And when you're trying to run down Seth the Merchant, that's a valuable set of bonus points, or bonus point in this case, to have. I mean, look at how close these front 3 have gotten now. Freenosh right behind Malik, who's now right behind Bladewitt.
And look at this fight. Here we go. Almost 3 wide. Freenosh thought about the bottom, is kind of half there as Malik Ray saw him coming, left the bottom lane open. Lariah up top side, but look at the 1 car changing lanes in the middle of the corner. Malik Ray going to go topside and make the pass on a Bladewitt on the exit. Slices down in front on the entry. What a couple of corners for the tracker boat Chevy of Malik Ray. That was fine stuff up front to put him back to the race lead.
In that moment there, Malik was also on the radio reminding the drivers 3-3-3, meaning we're 3 wide. He thinks everyone knows that, but just a good verbal reminder is important sometimes to let them know, hey, in case you don't know, we're 3 wide. And then he cleared everyone right there in that moment. And now he's going to pull a small lead over this group. But what they did there a little bit, in my opinion, is they let Seth the Merchant and Agno Phillip right back into this race as they were racing hard. Now look at this. There's now a 6-car battle here within about 2 seconds, I would say, for the lead.
Within about 2 seconds for the lead, and now Witt getting swallowed up by the rest of the pack. It is very much multi-groove season. That 44 car committed to the outside of the racetrack. The 19 of Witt kind of searching a little bit amongst those bottom 2 rows. Freenosh was trying stuff a little bit higher up early, but he has not left the white line in quite some time. Does he go topside because Bladewitt's camped out on the bottom? It's the 57 underneath. Freenosh kind of in no man's land there in the middle. And DeMerchant going to get a nose under him. 2 sets of side by side. They fight for P2 and P4.
Kind of felt like Freenosh lifted there because he was concerned about what Bladewitt was going to do and lost some momentum, but now has it back. Now they're 3 wide through turn 3, and no, Freenosh is not going to get it. He'll back it back to 2 wide to set the Merchant here at this track, and now they're 3 wide again down the front straight.
3 wide again, maybe 4 wide. DeMerchant, does he go for it? Really had all the opportunity in the world to back out. Now we are 4 wide in the battle for second off of turn 2. With the first one to play chicken, he bails out from second on the inside. And now DeMerchant slices inside to the bottom. Freenosh holds it in line behind him. Lariah still steadfast on the outside. Who wins the drag race for P2? Lariah good enough to get side by side. And this battle rolls on. What it is allowing, though, is Malik Ray to pull away. He's about 0.8 of a second out in front. It's the biggest advantage we've seen for the race lead so far tonight.
Yeah, that's what will happen when you get all these battles happening, is no one's going to run their preferred line. No one's going to get the perfect exits, and it's going to allow Malik Ray, who has all the open air, to get moving now. But as Blade Witt or Set the Merchant or others clear this pack, they will hopefully, in their minds, begin to run him down again. And man, there, Lariah went high again, but it looks like this is not working right now. It's going to get past 1, 2, maybe 3 times through that set of corners.
It was not a good exchange for Lariah there, but doing everything he can to stay loyal to the outside. The SimSpeed shop colors look good on that 44 Chevy. We've seen SimSpeed Shop be a partner of us here at RSR for quite some time. They've been a loyal partner as well with Michael Lariah. But I just don't know if the outside's working for him right now. But if an awkward entry to the corner for DeAndre Kane, who got low to avoid the leaders, it's an odd factor at the end of the day. And now very much Lariah the odd man out by going up topside. And now as Michael Guest passes him and he falls all the way down to 7th, when does the game plan change? Well, it's now. I think he's accepted defeat for the moment on that outside line. Lariah drops down to the inside.
Yeah, has momentarily given up. Maybe it's supposed to take a second, regroup, see if maybe the groups have changed as part of the oval refresh in the past couple weeks. Is that, you know, things are not always the same anymore. They can change, they can move around. You need to be willing to move around and see what works for you. But what's working right now for Malik Ray is that lead he has. Bad news for him. The person running him down is the person who's leading the points in Seth the Merchant.
Caution. Fly first time tonight at lap number 29. Spinner on the front straightaway. It is Jaron Windmaster and the 9 car. Started this race in 2nd position. He was 9th last time at a scoring loop. And now something has gone wrong for Windmaster. It'll be the first yellow of the afternoon, and we will wait to wind this one back. But what a tough start for Jaron after things look so promising.
Yeah, they did look a little promising in the start here, and we'll pull up our race spot replay in a moment. I think we're going to see some contact with Windmaster and another car that's going to cause him to get the car turned around here. Wait and see. Here's caution is out. Get that replay loaded up here. Here it is. This will be Windmaster out of the corner, really loose, really wiggling, and oh man, Wetmore just ran him over. Ooh.
Yeah, 9 got loose, did a good job of keeping it out of the wall. The problem is he was doing about 153 miles an hour trying to catch that car. That was about 20 miles an hour slower than Wetmore Schmidt behind him. Wetmore unable to dodge, lift the 9 car up in the air. Windmaster claiming responsibility for the yellow. He will get an end of the longest line penalty. Pit road is open, though. I mentioned that if we were to get green flag pit stops, the access road's going to be a storyline. Not likely to happen now as the yellow flag splits it up, but everybody's down for service.
Yeah, everyone will come down here. Everyone will take 4 tires and gas. There's no question here what's going to happen with how this track treats tires. They're going to want to put those 4 Goodyear virtual tires on it and get moving here. We'll see Malik Ray got the first side of the car up, and it'll drop down. You'll see the other side lift up. That's how we know they're taking 4 tires. There it is. And then they'll pull away here in just a moment. So we have a moment under caution here. Evan, I have to ask you, we're a week away from Christmas. If you could grade yourself, a 5 being the best ever, a 1 being you just use gift bags, how good of a Christmas present wrapper are you?
Oh, rapper. Okay, if it was gifter, I'd say a 4. Rapper, okay. I think it's a solid middle of the road 3.
Oh, all right.
Like you've ever seen like a paint scheme that like it's not going to knock your socks off, but also there's nothing offensive about it? That's me as a Christmas gift wrapper. Is just a safe paint scheme. There's worse, there's better, but right down the middle.
Do the patterns match when you wrap it? When you wrap it, if you use one of those fancy papers.
Avoid the fancy papers so you don't have that issue, but also if you do all the tying and whatnot and the taping in the back side of the gift, and then clearly indicate what is the back by then putting the bow and the to label on the front, then they don't see that it doesn't line up. So there is a strategy to it.
Okay, I'm a solid 1.
Oh.
I'm a gift bagger.
You're the Malik Ray of gift wrappers, number 1.
Yeah, that's it. No, if I had to gift wrap a present for right now, it would have like 4 different pieces of wrapping paper all taped together, some random tape everywhere. Yeah, it would not be pretty.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, they make gift bags and tissue paper for a reason.
Do you save the gift bags, though, and reuse them?
That's my roommate's job.
Okay. As long as it's been delegated, then...
We have a wood closet door thing. I can't find a word right now, which is ironic being a commentator.
Wood, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. There's a whole cabinet. That's what I'm looking for. A wooden cabinet outside in the garage that's full of gift bags.
I think I always had, growing up, all the gift bags were in a plastic tub under the guest bed, like the guest bed in the guest room, was just a tub full of half-used, crudely packed wrapping paper from the year prior. And also... they give you a lot of wrapping paper, but it's 99 cents. Just give me enough to get through the year. I'll get another one next year. I'm not sentimental about, like, the design. I don't know.
Yeah, the designs for me are very just blah. I'm with you. Just give me a plain color, like a red or a green or a blue. I don't need snowmen and, balloons or whatever on it.
Well, unlike my choice in wrapping paper, it is a quite extravagantly looking Field who is now behind the pace car with the lights off, and restart going to be coming around the next time through. No real changes. Again, we saw Malik Ray win that race off of pit road. The number 1 car going to get the inside line for the restart. Set the Merchant up to his outside. Michael Guest and Blade Witt on row 2. Looks like Andrew Freenosh, Agnew Phillip, row 3. Michael Laraya in the 31 and Nathan Jurgensen, row 4. And then Tom Wetmore, Sam Nieto on row number 5. Still 29 cars on the lead lap in this race. Mike Maddox is 3 laps down in 30th. His car currently parked on the pit lane. Not sure what the issue is with Mike's machine. DeAndre Kane lost a couple of laps early. He is 5 laps down in 31st, but is still in this race and will pass Maddox in the running order in 2 laps if that 30 does not get off pit road. Pace car, though, dives down and in. Let's see what the 1 car has got up his sleeves. Malik Ray's 1 second advantage has been erased, but he's got a good restart. Green flag in the air. Wasn't a good start for the Merchant, but he's able to fight back using the top side. Stay ahead of Guest for second. It is Malik Ray, though, leading off of 4, and for the first time tonight, the best battle in the 2024 Winter Series is back, Derek. We have seen this on multiple occasions. The Merchant's won one of the head-to-heads. Malik has won one of the others. Is this the rubber match here in Homestead?
Yeah, it does feel that way already, doesn't it? It's been the battle all season long, and the story that we've kind of followed inadvertently is Malik versus the Merchant. And of course, you got Michael Guest and Andrew Freenosh behind him. So I'm going to ask you, the comment I got from Nathan Jurgensen in the day was that he felt as though the eNASCAR drivers or former eNASCAR drivers would have the advantage here at Homestead because of all the time they've put into the track. Right now, given your top 4 and who's in your top 10 even, do you feel as though that's a fair point, or is that just a coincidence?
I think it's fair, but I don't know if it's necessarily the eNASCAR experience that does it for them, right? Certainly, Homestead's been on the Coke Series calendar through the Road to Pro ladder for quite some time, but I think it just has to go with years of service on the sim, right? I think these guys are having the advantage because they've been on this track for 10 years, and they drove these cars, when they were the Cup cars, on the service, and they've raced the COTs when they had plenty of horsepower. So I think it's kind of true by association. I don't think it's a one-to-one. They're good at these cars here because they've driven these cars specifically a ton here. I think it's just they've driven these cars a lot, and they've driven this track a lot, and it's the drivers at that top level that happen to have that much track time, and I think it's coming to show.
Yeah, and I agree with that as well. I don't think it's the eNASCAR specific, as you said. It's drivers who are willing to put in a little bit more time. As you talk driver to driver and team to team, you will find out who kind of puts in more time on a track and who thinks they have that track secured. They don't need more practice. And sometimes that alone will show the difference here. Man, look how close Nieto is really kind of pinching there on the 31. It's big, wide track, and Nieto was just really above that 31 car.
He was just on that top side, that 44 of the 44 Lariah, I should say. Sorry, top side with the 2 Nieto, just a couple of spots up the road. Feels like it's high lane Lariah tonight, but it hasn't worked in his favor. Started 8th, had gotten all the way up to P2. That has now slipped down to 11th. We'll see. Were there any air pressure adjustments? What happened on that pit cycle? What tweaks did these drivers make in that small box that they're allowed to play with in a fixed setup series like this IceBreaker Winter Series? We move up to the battle for P5. Blade Witt has got it. The 88 car of Andrew Freenosh right there as well. He wants to take it back. Guest leads both of them as he runs in 3rd. They both trail DeMerchant and Ray, who have tried to pull away just a little bit. They've got about a 0.6 of a second advantage.
Yeah, that's the advantage you're looking at right here. See it on the top left of your screen. The distances between each car on the track is what the leaderboard shows. You can tell that everyone's really close together. Everyone's benefiting from the draft in some ways and sticking with each other. Now, of course, with the style of this track and the banking and the factors, it's not a drafting track per se, but it really does come out that way sometimes where that benefit does help you. I'm so impressed with Sam Nieto this season, though, Evan. I mean, a driver who told us preseason he never really spent time in these cars. Of course, these cars are only a couple seasons old in iRacing, but has spent no time in these cars. Really, had a great run at Daytona, and has had some moments here and there of greatness in these past couple races. For someone who's never touched this car, that's impressive. It's hard to explain in the words how much different these cars are to drive than maybe the next gens or the Xfinity cars that are available on the platform.
Well, I think that's the interesting thing too, right? Is it's drivers like that actually thrive in these difficult cars, right? I mean, we've seen the likes of Freenosh and others, when the Cup Series car had trended towards a lower horsepower, even though there were times in which he was dominant, he was saying, I don't like this. I want something more horsepower. And they would enjoy the Winter Series, even with the Xfinity Series cars and that more horsepower. So I think that comes down to racers race, right? They want that challenge. They're actually better in a worse handling car because it's tougher, because they're more invested in it. And I think that ties all back into what we've been saying since week 1, and that is why these drivers voted for these Gen 4 Cup cars to replace the Xfinity Series cars in this Winter Series, is because this is the kind of racing that they love.
Yeah, and that's the important part too. And I think that's what makes RSR a little bit different, stand out more from other leagues. This wasn't a league decision. This wasn't an admin decision. This was the drivers coming up and saying, hey, we want this. We want to do this. We want the legacy tracks. This wasn't just, hey, we're going to do this. And, that was kind of the decision from high above. So, and it's paid off. It has been some incredible racing here as a nice break from the next gens, which we'll do during the regular season with RSR. So really a great battle here. Look at that. Wetmore, I think, holding onto the outside up there on Nieto, trying to make a move here. I think, yeah, Tom Wetmore's having a great night here. Now going to be up to P7 on the board.
He continues his march forward as drivers slip. There are opportunities for others like him to continue their march forward through the field, and already closing in on halfway home in this 100-lap contest. Clear is Schmidt on the bottom. Just for a moment, though, Nieto going to pitch a tent and camp out on the right rear quarter panel, take some air away from the 97 and get right back to the outside. So stubborn is Nieto, not willing to go down without a fight, as in front of them, Wetmore to the inside of Agnell Phillip.
Oh man, look how close that is right there between the 97 and the 2. But look at this great run here. I mean, Blade Witt kind of leading this pack. Of course, he has Michael Guest right in front of him, and then the battle up ahead there. But there's some beautiful racing. Of course, Wetmore was the one driver who told me he really wanted to run the wall. So to see Wetmore down here, on the bottom, Bruce, makes me wonder if the track hasn't come in the way he wanted it to, or if he's struggling with it, because he was the one who was most excited to run the wall all night long. But I've not seen him up against the wall for any lengthy amount of time, if at all.
He hasn't been pounding that line repeatedly like we've seen the likes of Lariah and others just come in. He's kind of going wherever the wind blows and whatever opportunity seeks itself, which is tricky, right? If you are committed to the bottom, if you're committed to the top side, you're going to know the nuances of that line a little bit better, and you're going to be able to, in theory, maximize what that line can give you. It is trickier to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. You got to be, very good everywhere instead of excellent in one spot. I think that overall a better strategy, and it has paid off very well for Tom so far. Of course, having gained 9 spots, biggest mover in the field, Harry Grindle at plus 17, William Schmidt at plus 13, Michael Guest at plus 10. So he's in that conversation for the most positions gained as you jump on board there with Brett Larson back in traffic. He and Cody Harris have been pretty quiet so far. Harris started 10th, but has slipped all the way back to P17.
Yeah, Harris had a rough night. He had a rough practice, too. At times, he had a hard time with the corner exits and keeping the car together. Obviously, he's doing better at that in the race than the practice, but a couple times in practice, I saw Cody loop the car around out of a corner. Now, the one good thing about this track, depending on where you do it, Evan, if you do it on the back straight especially, there's plenty of space here to get a car looped around and maybe keep it off of the wall. This isn't like a Martinsville or a Bristol or a New Hampshire, where if you loop the car around, you're basically almost guaranteed some car damage here. A place like this, if you loop that car around by getting on the gas too soon, maybe you can save it.
Maybe is the big if, as at 97, a car on the bottom of William Schmidt doing everything he can to shake the 2-car off, like most of us are about ready to shake All I Want for Christmas off of the radios. I'm sorry, it's a good song, but there's a limit, and the 2-car does not know it. He is going to continue to stay on the outside of the 97, and all this is doing, yes, for the 2-car, Sam may feel like he's better than the 97, but if he lets the 97 go, he's not going to be going max speed, right? He's probably trying to finish this pass, but I think these cars are so equal on speed that they've only been slowing each other down the longer this battle's been going, and now finally the 2-car clear. Does it last, though? The 97 going to go right back underneath.
Yep, there really is a tight battle here these guys are having here, and it sort of makes you wonder what they're giving up in doing so. Are they giving up, are they racing too hard? Are they going to burn those tires off? Are they just giving up time on the track? Are they better suited getting in line and catching the field and then letting things happen? Who knows? There's Tom Wetmore right above, now starting to move up a little bit, so that not up against the wall, but definitely higher up than we have seen so far in this race out of Tom. I know some of his relatives are watching in chat, so I want to say thank you to them for watching along and commenting and cheering him on. Always great to see the families of league members get involved in a league.
Yeah, good to see them cheering their family, their friends and relatives and so on and so forth on, and being supportive in the chat. Appreciate that you're all tuning in with us here at RaceSpotTV for the last race on the 2023 side of this 2024 calendar. Of course, 4 races so far this year. If you count tonight, we'll be off for Christmas and New Year's, and it will be back January the 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th as we race for 4 more rounds, and then look forward to not only crowning a Winter Series champion, but then headed off to the Cup Series in 2024. Seth the Merchant and Malik Ray are back at it again, and on the outside, the 57 of DeMerchant shakes the 1 car once more. Right on the bumper was Malik Ray that time. Malik led for the restart. Seth took over and has led for about the last 6 or 7. But Malik has reeled him back in, and once more, these cars look so even. Malik now down to the inside.
Now, stop me if you've heard this before, but I feel like we saw this battle last week and involved a little bit of contact, which I believe in a post-race review ended up with Malik Ray being blamed for that contact that sent Seth DeMerchant around. Malik Ray, no little Saint Nick on the track. He's known to be aggressive when he needs to.
Ooh, the 57, bit of a bobble there, and I don't know if Seth actually took his foot off the gas at any point, but the 57 looked like it had to take a moment to stabilize And what that did was it allowed Malik Ray to clear. Seth not going to go back up top. Instead, this time he'll tuck in line and back to the race lead goes Malik Ray. Going to be his 30th lap lead of the afternoon. He's led more than anybody else. And we are now past halfway home in this Homestead 150.
Yeah, with not that many laps left, anyone Seth to Merchant or Guest or Blade Witt is going to get up there and take that bonus point from Malik Ray for laps led. They need to do it soon because that number is decreasing fast as far as the number of laps left here if you want to get ahead of Malik Ray in laps led. Man, Malik Ray, I'm going to guess without looking at the stats, and I can look in a second, there's no way Malik Ray has not led the most laps in RSR IceBreaker this year, I don't think.
Yeah,
and if he hasn't,
exactly. And honestly, he's going to lead so many laps, him and Seth combined, that I don't know if anyone's going to be able to catch him. With the way that the first few rounds have been, and again, you just wonder what it could have been if Malik would have been here for that Daytona opener and with Seth the Merchant winning that race, because we'd be talking about an incredibly tight championship battle between these two. Again, if Malik continues to get first and second, he's going to have enough points, despite missing a race, even without a drop, to be able to get top 5, get top 3, maybe even come second to Seth, who currently leads the pack. But what a treat it would have been to see these two fight for the championship. But again, a long way to go. All it takes is wrecking out of one race or missing one. Nothing's ever official. But it is fun, at least in a single race context, to watch these two do battle. And it seems like the battle up front has calmed down just a little bit as Malik Ray's advantage has stabilized. You see a flash of green on the scoring pylon. I think Andrew Freenosh let Agno Phillip go for 4th and 5th, so no drama in that pass. That happened about 3 seconds behind those leaders.
And of course, the real question mark for me as far as the rest of the season is that fan vote. The one that's going to be the next race when we come back from our break. Who knows what it could be? It could be a road course. It could be an oval. It could be a track that we've done or we have done. Who knows what that's going to be? It's going to be based upon the drivers' votes. And so, that could end up being a track that maybe benefits Malik but doesn't benefit Seth or vice versa. And so that'll kind of be the real question mark in this whole battle, I believe. But the other question mark in this race specifically, Evan, we're not done with pit stops. Whether we go green or we have another yellow, there's more pit stops coming. And pit stop entry on this track is super challenging under green.
It really is, and you're not only going to have to deal with the exit of the corner as a little bit of traffic there as these cars try to funnel through turns 1 and 2, and right on the back bumper of the 4070 car Stevenson was Nick Mara there, the silver bullet, the Coors Light colors on board. His Dodge in this race. Love seeing all the different manufacturer stickers come out as well on these Gen 4 cars with an open template. Somebody's got a really funky car too, and I think that's worth noting. I think Harry Grindel's got a Renault or something. That's always fun to watch. Is Nathan Jurgensen and company doing a battle tail end of the top 10. It's Jurgensen and Schmidt up top, and on the bottom it's going to be Grant Davis and Michael Lariah. So Lariah chipping back away at all the ground that he lost to the midfield. But look, this is side by side. There's 2-3 sets of side by side behind, even when the field spreads out. Ample opportunities to try to make passes, it seems.
Yeah, ample opportunities. We got really 2 sets of paint schemes going on tonight, I've noticed, Evan. We got drivers like the 31 who really embrace that Miami passion, that Miami festive feeling, and got the bright, the neons and the festive colors there. You see around the 31, kind of that, I guess you put an aqua blue or an aqua green and a purple. Then we'll have drivers who also have maybe your more festive holiday paints. Of course, there's that Sprite, the cranberry, I can't think of the name of it right now. That's not passion cranberry. You know what I'm talking about.
Do I, though?
I thought you did. I was like, it's cranberry flavor Sprite.
Yeah, I just got to find Menanzi Major's car because he's got it on it.
Yes, just that's cheat. What it is.
Yeah, yes. Where's he at? Where's Menanzi at? I can't even find him on my scoring system. What happened to Menanzi Major? Am I just blind?
Let me take a look now.
He's on track because I posted a picture of his festive paint scheme.
He's in 23rd in the 82 car right now.
There it is, 82. Winter Spiced Cranberry. That's the one we were talking about. Yeah, Winter Spiced Cranberry.
So a couple different sets of paint schemes. So the holiday stuff going on. And then, like I said, some drivers have embraced that Miami heat, that Miami passion, and really going festive with the colors here. So lots of stuff going on. But what's going on right now? Look at this. Michael Guest has caught up to these two drivers. At one point, he was pretty far back. And maybe he has saved something in that car. He's now up here with Set to Merchant. In fact, side by side out of the corner there. And now he's going to get in line. And they're both going to try to run down Malik Ray.
Oh, and DeMerchant into the outside wall. Scraped along it for about 50 feet on the corner entry. And it's held him up just enough to give Michael Guest that gap there. And clear for second is Michael Guest. It's the highest we've seen the 23 car so far tonight. Started 13th. Was a little bit quiet early, but has been chipping his way through the field, and somebody else who's got the NASCAR level experience and deserves to always be in the conversation right next to the likes of Agnell, of Seth, of Malik, and many others. And he is now trying to get to the bumper of the one car, hoping to lead his first laps of this race.
Yeah, you're right. It's been kind of a silent night for Michael Guest. I mean, obviously creeping up through the field, but doing a great job, and now put himself up here in the top here with the net camera view. So amazing run, and maybe this shows you how different strategies of tire conservation and whatnot play out, because Michael Guest looks to have something in this car, and man, Set to Merchant seems to be struggling a little bit as this run goes on.
And now looking to the inside and challenging for the race lead. Side by side, Michael Guest on the bottom, Malik Ray on the outside, fighting for the race lead at Homestead, Miami. Guest going to get about a halfway clear on the one car and will lead his first lap of the afternoon. It's a bonus point in the back pocket for the 23 car. Now into 1 and 2. The one washes up on entry, and for the first time tonight, it's new race leader Michael Guest goes to the point.
Yeah, what a great passing here. It makes you feel like maybe Michael Guest was in it for the long run here and wanted to wait and make something happen. Malik's going to try to close the gap, but not going to get there. And now I think the question every driver is sort of gambling with in their head, Evan, is when. When do I come in for that final stop? Do I do it now and get it over with? Do I risk the caution? Because if I risk it now, I can justify putting tires on it. But if I wait and run the fuel tank dry, maybe I can't justify the tires. So now there's this little, it's almost like a negotiation you have inside your own head, where the only person talking to you is you, where you're trying to kind of make that barter with yourself about when do you want to come in, when do you want to pull the trigger, and it gets difficult here. Look at this beautiful shot from Nathan Jurgensen here with the RSR logo on the car. I suspect we'll see some drivers come in, I think, in the next 10 laps.
They've been going for about 37 since, and there it is for Nathan Jurgensen. As you're on board with him, it was meant to be. He pulls the trigger, comes to pit road, and he is the first car on a green flag service to do so. It is a tricky pit entry. They are not required to use the access road in to pit road, but that transition from the banking to the flat is what tricky, plus that pit road wall. We saw what happened there with the Cup cars most recently in their playoff race. I think it was Larson going into the barrels. So that's trick number one. You get on pit road, nothing too crazy there. Pit road speed here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, I think, clocks these drivers in at 50 miles an hour. He'll get to the exit, and now here's where you need to use the access road. It doesn't seem that tricky, but you're going to want to try to stay as full throttle as you can, but that access road is flat. There's no banking derrick to help you, and if you stick two tires off in the grass, inside or out, your car's going to go spinning right up into the field. So pit road entry has its challenges. Pit road exit has its challenges. Sounds like Sam Nieto says that he'll be pitting from the number 8 spot. No takers so far for the race leaders, though, as Malik Ray continues to chase down to Michael Guest. But sounds like pit road's going to be awfully busy in a few laps as Freenosh is down pit road. So is the aforementioned Nieto, and I'm sure more are coming with.
And this is great news for Nathan Jurgensen right now, because it means if a lot of drivers are coming down, it's less and less likely he gets stuck in a bad spot if that caution were to come out. So that's good news for Jurgensen. Coming back to the access road exit, though, there's really two aspects of it. There's a physical side, which is what you talked about. There's no banking. It's hard to keep it, full throttle. There's that mental side, though, where it feels like that thing lasts forever. And cars are just passing on the outside, and they're passing by, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to catch these drivers who are passing me by. That mental aspect of watching drivers go by in my opinion, is worse and harder than keeping that car on that pavement.
I've seen at the very top levels of sim racing, cars get into the grass on the pit exit, spin up in front of traffic amongst the leaders. And look at the late call from Michael Guest. Malik Gray on his heels, no warning, no indication, quick slice down to pit road, and at least this way he'll prevent getting undercut by Malik. He's going to get the fresh tires before Malik, before Seth, before Agnell. It's going to give him a quick boost on the exit of pit road. Fastest lap we saw out of him all night was a 34.185. He was running 35.4. So you're talking about almost a second and a half of fall off. The cars who get the fresh tires, they're going to be going that second and a half quicker every single lap. So that's where the undercut comes in. But not everybody quick to respond. Malik Gray, steadfast, stays up top. He's going to lose time actively, right? Every lap that he stays out there is time lost for the one car. That does not mean, though, it's the end of the world, because then when he does pit, he will have better tires than everybody else who's already stopped, and he will make up at that gap, and he'll chip and chip away. So just know, Malik Gray at the Merchant NFL, they're all losing time as they're out here. They will be further behind Guest when they leave pit road and have completed their service than they were about 2 laps ago. But it's the long game. They're all strategizing what they're going to do over the course of the next 27 laps to be the winner when this race is done, not just the leader in 5 or 10 laps.
Well, so there's really 3 different strategies I can think of that Malik and these others are counting on. One is that inevitable yellow comes out at some point here soon and allows them to pit under yellow and not lose anything, or not lose as much as they could under green. The second idea is that, as you said, they're hoping to gain the time later and see what they can do with the car, or maybe they're happy with their tires right now. They don't feel that need to pit. The third is, do they wait and not take tires? I don't think so. Here comes Malik Gray. That third option would be the least likely option. But here comes Malik Gray a couple of laps later. He'll not give up the lead.
Yeah, so he waits about an extra 3 or so laps, heads down pit road, and everybody else is in with him. Agnell Phillip, Blade Witt, Michael Araya, Grant Davis, you name it. Almost everybody in the top 5 to pit road, which will put Cody Harris to the race lead. For the first time tonight, Harris did not lead at the stripe. The leader on pit road was still Malik Gray, so no lap led and no bonus point for Cody Harris. He's not likely to get a bonus point at all, despite the fact that he's going to lead. Oh, and a caution
there it
comes
is
out in the middle of the pit cycle. And as the age-old saying goes, this changes everything. Dylan Coyle and Tom Wetmore got together. I think they're going to disagree on why, but contact in turn 4, and man, is this going to make timing and scoring a mess, because so many of the cars who had already pitted were either a lap down or well behind, and Wetmore closing in on Coyle. I don't know if the 79 was trying to pit or if Wetmore just tried to pass him and missed. Let's watch this. Let's watch the 79's line. Was he? It's hard to tell. Was he braking to enter pit road there?
I mean, maybe, but that's. It feels like that's a high line to be taking through that corner if you're trying to get on pit road there, because that's a hard cut to the left. But regardless of whether that's the case or not, I mean, you see the slower car. You're obviously closing on him. You have to move up and get around him. You're not allowed to run people over. Like that's the simplistics of it. I mean, whether there's fault or not, this is the second time tonight we've seen Wetmore run someone over. That's not acceptable. You, as a race car driver, I mean, typical driving law tells you, Evan, it's your fault if you run someone over from behind. In fact, in racing law, we cannot say it's the job of the faster car to get around the slower car. I don't know. That's hard. I'm guessing Wetmore is getting nothing from Christmas from Dylan Coyle.
Yeah, those two will not exchange gifts, at least tonight. I think they'll get along in the Discord, give it a couple of hours or days. But it is tough there. So the cars who had yet to pit will come down pit road. They will complete their service. And after all of that, how about Seth DeMerchant leading this race when it's all said and done? Coyle on pit road, part of the conversation, but this was all seemingly set up for Michael Guest to cycle back through to the race lead. And unfortunately for the 23 car, he actually decided to come back down pit road, Derek, get more tires, knowing that he was going to lose some track position. So Guest is going to go way down the running order, and all of a sudden, DeMerchant back on top.
Unfortunately, you can see this is a very frustrated Dylan Coyle here on your screen, just very animated, kind of trying to get himself back comfortable in that seat and kind of let the frustration out. Knows he has some time on pit road to get some damage fixed here. It's frustrating, because I'm sure in Dylan's mind, he probably was a slower car and thought, hey, that's obvious. But yeah, I just got ran over in that moment.
Speaking of which, let's see. No better time, I think, to talk to a race car driver that when they're a little peeved. Let's see if we can dial up our RaceSpotTV in-race reporter, Dylan Coyle. And Dylan, you seemed a little flustered on camera, so it seemed like a perfect opportunity to stick a camera and a microphone in your face, as the broadcast world does. How you feeling? I mean, you had a little bit of help around there, it looked like, in turn 4.
Yeah. This has been a brutal night. I had technical issues, could not get into practice until I got one lap. My sim rig is completely misconfigured. I'm horrible out there right now, no question. I don't know who that was, but I got flat out dumped. I'm slower, yes. I don't know what you saw. I'm frustrated and flustered.
You mentioned struggling at this Homestead at Miami Speedway. Obviously, we've been to an intermediate racetrack earlier this year in Chicago, but I know it's not an apples-to-apples comparison. What is it about this track with the inability for you to get those extra lap times in practice that you're currently trying to figure out?
Honestly, it's the feel of the car, especially down the straightaways. You try and get on the throttle, and immediately it's hard. It's hard to deal with. Feels really free, really loose when trying to apply the throttle. That's probably the hardest thing. Sometimes I feel like I'm getting sucked up to the wall. Again, this is coming from someone who legitimately had one lap of practice before the race started and forgot to change my steering ratio. And I know it's bad, right? I'm making excuses. I'm just bad.
So, Dylan, the question that came up in the booth was, in that moment there, were you trying to pit when, in that moment, it looked like maybe you were slowing down in a corner, or are you just having a hard night?
I'm having a hard night. I mean, I'm slow. I got 4 laps to go until my tank runs out. Everyone else is a second and a half faster than me. Like, I don't know. What was your take? I didn't see it. I felt it.
Yeah, I mean, you got it right, which was that, there's some contact between you and Tom. I think you and Tom have already disagreed a little bit on who's at fault, but you guys can work that out. I'm guessing no Christmas cards right now?
I don't know. Last I checked, it was the person in behind that has to try and pass. I got no ill feelings towards Tom. I love him. He's a good dude, but if he thinks something I did was wrong, then he's got to learn how to pass a car who's slower.
All right, well, you're about to go green here. Good luck.
Thanks.
We appreciate Dylan for giving us some time as the green flag is back in the air, and there are 21 laps to go at Homestead. Seth the Merchant, 6-lap-old tires. Malik Ray, 5-lap-old tires. Everybody else's tires only 3 laps old. Does that give somebody like a Cody Harris an advantage? How about the 28 car? P10 machine at best all night long. He's now 3rd as he clears Agnell Phillip, and the 1 car in the 57 stays side by side. Malik Ray looking for clean air off of turn 4. He's got it.
Yeah, Malik Ray had the better run off there just because he had the better angle out of the corner. He was kind of able to control when Seth could get out of the corner by sort of pinching him down there. So nice run by Malik, but of course I know this battle is not over. But you're right, there's some questions here. Cody Harris, Agnell Phillip, able to get up in these spots through that pit strategy. I'm curious if they can take advantage of it here.
Look at the 57 car. There's contact as Malik Ray still went to the inside after Seth tried to carry all that speed to get underneath him, and it was a bobble and a save for the 1 car. Seth not able to make the speed carry off of the corner. He tucks in line again. If these top 2 who have battled for wins before and who have stepped over that line before this year, we've seen contact between these 2. Some of them has been race ending, others inconsequential if they start to come to blows. Cody Harris watches on from 3rd, Phillip 4th. That battle for really who's the next best could become a battle for the race lead, depending on how this one plays out. Merchant really non-committal to either line that time. Malik Ray parked it in the center, took up both sides. 18 laps to go at Homestead. It's Malik Ray in front as he secures the most laps led.
I mean, really, we saw that contact last week with Malik Ray and Seth the Merchant that really didn't end the race, but certainly had a great impact for a moment there. Seeing a great double shot here. The race live on the top and a view from DeMerchant's car on the bottom. Now, what I find interesting from Cody Harris, Agno Phillip, and these others behind him, though, is, man, look at this three-wide battle. That's Blaine Whitten in the green car all on the top here. And, man, a little bit of contact there in the middle two cars. But, man, that's exciting. And scary. That's William Schmidt on the bottom. I don't think we've seen William Schmidt leave the bottom lane all night long here at this track.
And to that point, I think I've seen Jared Weinmaster in more three-wide middle positions than anybody else also. Schmidt probed them up. The 9-car checks up. Look at Wetmore with a big run. Slices down to the inside, but does not force it under the 97. And Schmidt, and he will wait for the moment. This battle all going in around 9th and 10th position. There's some side-by-side behind them as well. Not missing anything up front. Malik Ray, 2/10 over to Merchant. No battle for the lead. If it gets underway, we'll jump there. There's a quick peek. You can see it's still a car length. Seth is trying. Malik is doing a good job at defending. To be honest, though, with a 21-lap sprint to the end of this race, Derek, I don't know if we have gone 21 laps in this entire race with one driver leading 21 consecutive green flag laps. That bodes well for the entertainment factor as you watch the battle for 5th. Michael Loraya on the outside, Guest on the bottom. They'll be door-to-door.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. We've had so many different lead changes tonight. Of course, Malik has already locked in the number of laps led, but it's over a course of a number of segments of laps led that he's going to lock that in here. And man, Loraya here is going to be right in behind Michael Guest out of that corner. Guest maybe didn't want to get all the way up there to sort of slid the car up there, and Loraya had to lift a little bit to make sure he didn't run him over. And here's Freenosh on the bottom, now going to try to get under Loraya, but I think Loraya's going to get an excellent run off this corner once again, and he will at least stay even with, if not past Freenosh here at the line.
I don't know if it's been the best line tonight in terms of lap times, right? He got passed by Guest. Freenosh going to go to the bottom and try to pass him as well. I mean, maybe Michael has a net loss on spots, the top side, it feels. But if that ain't the funnest line, I don't know what is. There's just something awesome about seeing a car with the back end skewed out about 15 degrees at about a foot or two off of the outside wall. Nothing better. And in this case, as Guest decides to put the 23 to the outside of the racetrack, Loraya says, all right, we'll trade. He goes down to the inside line. So not afraid to make either line work. Again, seems like he has a preference for the top, but has been trying to will that to work tonight. Just hasn't really clicked for him. As now we jump back to that battle for 8th position. They're all chasing the 8-ball, Kyle Kamer.
Yeah, this little pack right here is probably the most dangerous pack because everyone's going to try to want to make a pass here pretty quickly with only a few laps to go, about 12, 13 laps to go here. So Blade Witt, your former race leader, pole sitter, is back there trying to battle. But look at this here. Loraya, maybe for the first time tonight, as you said, not on the top of the track. And it feels like he's trying to show Michael Guest, anything you can do, I can do better line. But right now, Michael Guest is making good use of the top of that track.
Making use of it is, you can see Freenosh right tucked in line behind, putting the pressure to the 44. Almost looked like he was close enough to push the 44 through the corner. That battle between those two for 6th and 7th. Color me shocked. It's Michael Loraya going to the outside, Freenosh on the bottom. See, Freenosh will pull even in the center. The shorter line obviously is the quickest way around the racetrack because it's a shorter distance, but it's that run right there. You wouldn't think 2 degrees at banking, right? 18 on the bottom, 20 up top. You wouldn't think that 2-degree difference would mean that much. It's a combination of things, Derek. It's not only the extra 2 degrees of banking, it's the height, right? The straightaways are at ground level, and when you're on the outside of the racetrack, you go up the banking, right? The banking's not dipped down into the corner. It's up. It's built up above the straight. So when he comes off the hill, it's literally coming down the hill. He's got the extra banking to help him turn the car, but that speed comes when he can stay in the throttle and he can drive it down that hill. That's about a story tall worth of banking that's working for him topside.
Yep, and that, of course, will provide some speed and some comfort there. Just how sooner he can get on that throttle compared to the inside line will help him get on the move here. But this is a really tight battle repetitively here with less than 10 to go now. And these guys are battling hard back here for 6th and 7th. The battle up front is still the same. It's still 0.3 of a second. You're not missing anything up there between Malik Ray and Seth the Merchant. This battle is one of the closer ones on track that you're watching here currently.
Top side again, good enough for the 44 car to carry the momentum through, stay in front. This battle ongoing now with 9 laps to go at Homestead. Still no change up front. Malik Ray 1, followed by DeMerchant, Harris, Phillip, and Guest. Caution flag with an incident behind the leaders. The 12 was on the radio, and Sam Nieto involved in this one. Caution flag number 3 on the night, and this is going to put us right up against the brink for a late race restart.
Yeah, there's a bit up against it. I think we'll get a natural restart here, or organic restart, however you want to name it here, but we're going to see contact here with Sam Nieto and the 04 car here on the inside of that car here. And like this, Nieto just wanted to come down and wasn't really clear and caused a wreck here, and it's going to back up behind him. Oh, Nieto in the wall again.
Yeah, the tough there with the contact, and then sounds like there was a second bit of contact after the incident, trying to locate where it was. So it might have been the pink car that some of the drivers are mad at. That would be the 47 Don Stevenson.
Oh, yeah, him and...
he was in the wreck and then came down the hill and kind of caused a secondary wreck. That's where the frustration comes from, but it's the money stop time. They've all got a set of tires available on pit road. So do you want 4? Do you want 2? As they drive to their stalls, you can watch the replay for the pink 47 to Stevenson. Again, yellow flag is well out at this point, I believe. Yeah, you got to look in the mirrors before you clear the track. That's where the frustration came from. And now let's see what happens on pit road. Malik Ray enters in first. Does he leave as the leader?
That's the question. If you're Malik Ray or if you're set to Merchant, you probably want 4 tires, but if you're someone in the back, although there's a Merchant first, that must be a 2-tire stop, Evan. That is so fast. And there went, was that Tom? Was that Wetmore who left already?
A couple of cars go blazing off of pit road as we wait to see the official running order in which they exit in. But it looks like DeMerchant first off of pit road. An impressive pit stop for him. And as he looks to take over the race lead, I'll wind it back and see what the strategy call in the end was there for Seth DeMerchant as he takes over the number 1 position. It was indeed, I believe, right sides only for DeMerchant, so that's how he gets the number 1 spot off of pit road. It was Wetmore. You caught that Tube Tech 51. Second car off of pit road also with right side tires only, so we haven't seen a ton of that this season. Malik Ray exits pit road in 3rd position. He did opt to go for the full 4, so he'll have the tire advantage, but he'll have to make something happen from the 2nd row, and we can watch that race off pit road again.
Now, if you're a Seth DeMerchant or if you're a Tom Wetmore, what I think you're really hoping for, Evan, is a series of quick cautions that puts this race away, and you're hoping that the track position matters. In a track like this, I don't know what 2 tires are going to do for you. It feels like that's been the topic every week here, has been 2 tires and the effect it has, and who doesn't want to take it. But obviously, I'm surprised DeMerchant did it. I think that's what gets me. Wetmore was a little bit back in the field. He had to make a move to get up here. But I'm surprised Seth DeMerchant went for 2 tires, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, Seth had been even with Malik for much of this, right? Maybe in that last run, slightly less. And listen, I will watch a race and see a ton of passing, and I'll be like, wow, there's plenty of opportunities to pass. And then what did the driver say? Man, it was so hard to pass, right? So I can never speak to what they are experiencing behind the wheel, but it would typically see drivers make that call if you're, 6th or 7th, right? You've got speed, but you're not going to win the race. So let's go for the 2-tire call. Let's try to gain some track position, go for the win. If not, goes back to the conversation we had at Michigan with some of the late strategy, and we're talking about net gains, right? It might not win you the race, but if you finish higher than where you would have been, it's a win in the end. It's a bold call by Seth. It's a bold call by Tom. Seth DeMerchant going to choose the outside for this. It'll give them a 4-lap run. If that goes green, I think that's going to be too many laps to hold off Malik Ray.
Yes, I would agree with that. Now, the only benefit Seth DeMerchant has is that the driver on his inside also is in the same predicament of 2 tires. So that will hold up Malik Ray a little bit, not a whole lot. But as I said, if you're DeMerchant, I think right now you're sort of hoping that, I guess you're hoping for a couple cautions and this race ends in the yellow and you you claim the track position. But I agree with you that if this stays green, typically a 2-tire call will make a car loose. And in a track like Homestead, where the track's already a little bit loose, I'm curious. I could be wrong, but I don't think this will be a pleasant sleigh ride for Seth DeMerchant.
Any yellow from this point on will push us into Real Sim Racing overtime. For now, it'll be a restart with 4 laps to go at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Seth DeMerchant and Tom Wetmore on 2 tires on the front row. DeMerchant choosing the outside. There's 4 tires from row 2 on back. Green flag in the air. It's a good start for the 57 car. Here comes the one of Malik Ray. 3 wide for P2 to turn 1. They'll both split the gap on Wetmore, as it was Harris to the outside as well.
And Harris will back out and leave Wetmore in 3rd. But right now what happened is that Wetmore did not block the bottom of Malik Ray. He did not even try to stop Malik from passing. So Malik got an easy run here. Now DeMerchant won't be as easy to pass. Almost contact here in the corner. And DeMerchant will slide up the hill here as we complete this first lap here under green.
Slides up the hill, opens the door, trying to hold off Malik Ray, who's got 4 tires, is the 2-tire DeMerchant. It's worth noting that DeMerchant's left side tires aren't that old. He's not going to get there in time, though. We'll be going to overtime. And Sam Nieto involved in an incident. It looks like it was more contact with Nieto and Gidman again. So tempers may have spilled over from the previous incident that we just saw.
I think you're going to see 2 different angles of this here. It's going to look like that the 04 does that, but I think if we watch it from the 04's perspective, you're going to find out he's kind of hugged into that wall. We had a talk last week, Evan, in our broadcast, but there's really 2 types of walls in iRacing. There's the huggers and the pushers. And the Homestead wall is a hugger. It holds on to you, it holds on to you. And what he does, he tries to get off of that wall and pull to the left. And when he does, he just hits Nieto. I understand why Nieto's upset. Nieto thinks it's payback for whatever happened earlier. I don't think it is. I think it's just a case of trying to get off the wall and being too aggressive with it.
Well, Nieto's first thing over the radio was, you correct me again, so Nieto feels like both of the incidents were at fault of the 04.
Right.
Here's the onboard perspective from Gidman. Watch the wheel input right there. Tight, certainly off the corner. He's in the wall. Yeah, I mean, the car's not coming off the wall, and then the second it does, it snaps. The wheel goes back to the right, but because the 2 was so close, on that straightaway shot, looks like he just Chase Elliott'd him and hooked him on the straight.
And the question is, what do you expect the 04 to do, right? Do you expect him to sit in the wall forever and just lose every spot ever because, Nieto's on the inside? Now, Nieto would say yes. Yeah. But, right? But the 04 is going to try to get off the wall and make that happen. So we've all been there. And listen, I hope that when Sam watches the replay in a little bit, he'll understand what happened. There's always 2 perspectives in a race. There's what you think you saw in the car and what really happened. And those 2 things don't always line up.
Wouldn't be surprised if that continues to happen for all of time in racing, is that the 2 drivers at a battle don't have the same list of priorities. No shock there. I don't know if this is good or bad for Seth DeMerchant, to be honest with you. Again, I said if it was going to go 4 laps to the end, I think that would be tough to hold off Malik Ray. The benefit of going to overtime is, well, it's only going to be 2 laps consecutive that you have to hold him off. Your good restart, if you can get one, is a better advantage on a 2-lap sprint than it is on a 4, right? You take up more time where they got to catch you. But Malik did get to P2 pretty quick on that restart, and Seth held the advantage. So now Malik's going to get right next to him. Could get a good start for the one, could be bad, but the challenge here is Malik's going to be right on his door.
Yeah, he is going to be right on his door. And I'm thinking Seth, again, will pick the outside on the start here. We'll find out in a moment, because the leader does get that lane choice preference. But the concern right now for Seth DeMerchant has to be tire spin. If he can get a good launch here, he can be competitive with Malik Ray on a 2-lap run, I believe. But if he spins those tires in the start and Malik gets up there and gets it launched with him evenly, then I think it's a different race all the way around here. So right now you see they're lined up 2 by 2 here, and the lights in the pace car are there. So I think I mean, look at it again at a closer view. If you can see the lights, tell me.
Yeah,
but I think we're.
I'm seeing.
Okay, cool. So I was like, man, I'd be surprised if Seth picked the inside lane there, but they were lined up 2 by 2. I was like, whoa, all right.
They're just excited. I mean, lights aren't even out, and they're already lined up 2 by 2 and ready to get going. The one thing I'll look for is, as Galen Gidman has claimed the most recent yellow, so he'll get the end of the longest line to penalty. He will drop to the rear and claim that, and he will subsequently get a single penalty point. The one that I was looking at, and it just got answered, I was going to say, will Seth take the top side again? We hadn't seen anybody else as a control car all night long pick the top side, which is something that the race leaders can do. In this RealSimRacing IceBreaker Winter Series, it coming to the one to go, Seth has taken the top. So that will put the one of Malik Ray on the bottom. Seemingly, again, another thing that is an advantage for the 57 car.
I'm going to put a thing in your head I just saw, and maybe Malik is just kind of playing around. But Malik just took the apron through that corner when they swapped lanes. I don't know if Malik was just playing around because they were swapping lanes, or if Malik has concerns about the fuel load. Typically in racing, when a driver's taking the apron under caution, it's to kind of balance out that fuel load a little bit and kind of make you feel better. So I think he was just playing around. But if this thing goes yellow again, I'm going to pop that question again, because I'm aware that he did that. I'm not sure why, though.
If it was anybody else, I'd be taking notes about fuel. I feel like it may be Malik doing Malik things, but the wonderful mystery is, unlike in a NASCAR race where you can watch the pit stops and see them take fuel, physically see the guy put the fuel in the car and how long it is, we do not know. We have no way of knowing how much fuel they put in these cars. Some drivers may want to skew on the lighter end of fuel because they feel like a lighter race car may handle better. Others may feel like a heavier car is the benefit. That we do not know. This is attempt number 1 of a possible 3 attempts at RealSimRacing Overtime. Seth the Merchant on the outside with 2 fresh tires. Malik Ray on the inside with 4. They've both got a win so far this season. Who's the first to 2? Green flag in the air. It's a good start all around. Big advantage to nobody as the 57 to the Merchant just clear of the 1 car. Slides down in front for the top spot. Guest on the fence from 3rd.
Wow, just barely clear with Seth the Merchant there. Nice call, clearing himself. He has no spotter in the sim tonight, no human spotter. So great job doing that there. But man, Michael Guest way up high. I don't know if that was on purpose or if he just felt like he lost the car on that restart there. But as we come around now, we're about to take the white flag, and this will be official. Maybe a little contact there, Evan. We're 1 to go.
White flag in the air. This race is official. Here comes Malik Ray. He'll go to the inside. DeMerchant sticks up top, the lane that he preferred, but he's into the outside wall. It's a rare mistake from Seth DeMerchant.
In the wall he was, but he's not going to give up here. He's going to get a little bit of help here on the draft. Oh, wrecking the back. This will stay green. This will set Nieto. No, that's Cody Harris. Hold on. Contact.
Malik Ray gets turned by Seth DeMerchant. Big crash in turn 3. 3 wide off of turn 4. Michael Guest goes through the middle and steals the win at Homestead. What a wild final lap.
Wow. Wild indeed. There was 2 simultaneous wrecks happening. We're watching the wreck in the back, and then the wreck in the front happens here. We're going to need to take a look specifically at the one in the front, I think, because we were not focused on it. Watch it again here, Evan.
Yeah, there's a lot going on the final lap of this race. There was a wreck behind the leaders, but there was the mistake of Seth the Merchant getting into the outside wall. But to your point, he wasn't done. Had a great run off the corner. There's the wreck behind. Looks like Harris pulled up in front of somebody. They're wrecking, and then the big head of steam. Malik Ray stays on the bottom. Seth drives it in, gets under the 1 car. He wrecks, and look at Michael Guest. Sneaks his way between the 57 and the 97. Wins out in the drag race to the front straightaway, and the sleeper Michael Guest will lead 7 laps total en route to victory lane. Here's his onboard perspective. Sees the C's part sideways through the gap a couple of times. What a drive for the 23.
Wow. I mean, that contact between Seth and Malik, I believe it's just more of a difference of momentum. I don't think it was purposeful. I'm not 100% positive, but I mean, I don't know. That's crazy. Let's take a look at the grid here, Evan. And wow, there's a lot to sort out in these post moments.
A lot going to go in as well to review the last lap of that race. as it got wild. In the end, Michael Guest is your race winner here from iRacing's virtual Homestead Miami Speedway. The gap is 68 one-thousandths of a second to Sec the Merchant in second, and 86 one-thousandths to William Schmidt in third. We'll do our best to get a word from all of those drivers in just a few moments. Andrew Freenosh and Michael Araya bring up the rest of the New England dominance inside of the top five as they finish at 4th and 5th, respectively. A good night for Agnew Phillip in 6th. Tom Wetmore ends up 7th. Bladewit finishes 8th. Joseph Tice is 9th. And Kyle Kamer rounds out your top 10.
Looking back at P11's Ross Cato, and then you got Harry Grindell in 12th. Grant Davis in 13th, Manuzzi Major in 14th, Jason Weinmaster, success early, back in 15th, Eric Papineau, P16, Chris Owens, Brett Larson, Doug Roth, and Sean Kalis round out your top 20.
And continuing on down through the field, Dylan Coyle settles for 21st tonight. That's a pickup of 7. I don't think he'll be too angry about that. Nathan Jurgensen slides from 9th to 22nd. Big loss for him. Nick Mara 23rd. Cody Harris down to 24th. Malik Ray, after leading, headed into turn number 3. Gets turned, finishes last on the lead lap in 25th position. He's the final car on the lead lap. 1 lap down for Sam Nieto in 26th. And then out of this race at the time of the checkered flag is Galen Gideon 27th, Don Stevenson 28th, DeAndre Kane 29th, Carl Shed in 30th, and then Mike Maddox unable to bounce back from some of the early race challenges, and he will finish shotgun on the field in 31st. Well, let's go trackside and talk with your race winner from the Homestead Miami Speedway. It is Michael Guest in victory lane. And Michael, congratulations. I mean, I think it would be unfair to say that you weren't in the conversation tonight. You lead 7 laps total, but certainly it was a lot of Seth and a lot of Malik. But you had the speed throughout. What went into putting it together to be there in 3rd place headed into turn 3?
Yeah, that was a hard-fought race for me. I didn't get the best Q effort, so I came through the pack and was leading at the end of the first really long run. And I guess I don't know, I pitted at a bad time, and the caution just kind of set me back. I had to pit and take tires when the rest of them could stay out because they hadn't really run laps on them yet. So after that, I was just trying to get back up to the front. And luckily before that 10 to go caution, I got just far enough up there where I could take 4 tires and still be in the first couple rows. And Seth and Malik have some feud going on. I know they wrecked each other last week. I was kind of waiting for it this week, so it doesn't really surprise me. So I'm just glad I was in the position, I guess. But yeah, that was a really fun race. I love these cars. Wish there's more activity with these on iRacing, but really happy this league's bringing these alive right now, and looking forward to the next one.
Well, we enjoy having you as a part of the series here on these Monday nights. What is it about? Is it the intermediate tracks, or is it just everything in these, right? I mean, obviously, you didn't get the result you wanted. Michigan doesn't really come together for you, but Chicagoland, you finished 3rd. Tonight here, you get a race win. You got a pretty good track record in these cars on tracks like this.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the high horsepower stuff, low downforce. You ask anybody, that everybody knows I'm a big 2018 fan on here. That was a really fun time just to be iRacing with the Gen 6 cars, and this feels a lot like that. So any of these intermediate tracks, even shorter tracks like Richmond and stuff, I just really love getting to drive these cars and slide around the track. It's definitely a little bit different than what the higher downforce next gen brings to these days. So really happy about just the alternative still being alive on here.
Obviously, we got a couple weeks off, so folks can enjoy the Christmas, the New Year break. On the backside of the New Year, though, we'll have a driver vote race in which drivers will get to vote in the Discord on what they want that one to be. We've also got Charlotte, Fontana, and Atlanta coming up, 2 of which, Charlotte and Atlanta, are the old configurations of those tracks. Will we see in those 4? What's the outlook for the rest of the season?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I plan to run the rest of this season out. I unfortunately missed Daytona with I can't remember what was going on that night, but I was busy that night, so unfortunately I missed the first race, but plan to be here for the rest of them, and sounds like really fun tracks. I love those old configurations, so ready to get after it, and definitely excited to see what everybody votes for that mystery track.
We're looking forward to what the 2024 side of the calendar brings as well, Michael. We'll let you jet out of here. Before we do, though, sponsors, shout-outs, anybody you want to say hi to?
Oh, yeah, of course. Just mainly you guys for putting this on. Definitely a blast. And like I said, definitely glad to be running these cars at a time when there's not really like the alternative to run it in just like regular racing with a competitive field. So
I don't think there's much for us upstairs to watch unless you guys come and compete and put on these shows on Mondays, Michael. So it's good to chat with you, and I appreciate you being here for these races. Congratulations on the win. Enjoy your holidays, and we'll catch you next time out.
Appreciate it.
It's a race winner tonight at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Michael Guest is in victory lane. Well, Seth the Merchant was P2 lined up to turn 3. He finishes P2 in the end, Derek, but it was another good result for Seth the Merchant, but not the race win. Your trackside with the driver of the 57.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and catch up with the driver of the 57. Seth, in a way, it's the same conversation as last week. Contact with you and Malik, but maybe in an opposite form. So we got to start with the obvious question. What's your take on what happens in the white flag lap here?
I'm just bad. I don't know. I was trying to get in on him, see if I could move him up and get under him. I mean, the 2 tires was just horrible, so I was just trying to see if I could do something to mix it up, and I just drove through him. So yeah, there's not much more to it than that, and it's my fault. And yeah.
So I feel like as we drive the Gen 4s and we look back to the older years in NASCAR, is this I meant to rattle its cage kind of moment?
No, I was just, I know it's like it's me and Malik every week, it seems like, for 1-2, and I'm trying to I don't know, do the best I can, and yeah, I don't know, just too aggressive on the brakes and drove into him.
All right, well, so then after that happens, you have the drag race between yourself, Michael Guest, and William Schmidt here off of basically turn 4 to the line. What was your thoughts on that? Just full throttle? Did you think, oh, yeah, I can catch Guest? What was your thought in that head?
Honestly, I didn't deserve to win, so I kind of just let him. I just lifted it. I felt bad for wrecking for Malik, so I don't know.
All right, well, got a couple weeks off now to stop and think and relax, of course, Christmas, New Year's, and we'll come back with the driver vote track. Just going to ask you a vague question here. We don't know the track's up for vote yet. Is there any chance you'd vote for a road course?
Yeah. Why not?
All right. That's all I want to hear. That's good to know. Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming up tonight. Anyone you want to say hello to? Anyone you want to thank for making everything happen for you?
Just, you guys run a league.
All right. Well, listen, great job tonight. I know you're bummed about the end, but P2 is still a P2. Good run tonight.
Thanks.
All right. That's Seth the Merchant, driver of the 57. And now we're going to catch up with, I think, maybe the silent sleeper of the night, the 97, William Schmidt. William, you finished the race P3. How'd that happen?
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Yeah, I mean, I guess we just got really, really lucky with the way the cautions fell. Gained a whole lot of spots there on pit road. I don't know what I did different on pit road compared to what I did previously, but I gained like 2 or 3 spots there. And yeah, we just got super lucky with the way the cautions fell. And on the final restart, it's like I just turned on the nitrous and just went off. And I'm not going to lie, I thought I had the win there off of turn 4 because I saw Michael was really loose. And I had those internal thoughts just being like, just give him a little shove. But yeah, I didn't do it. I didn't want to be that guy to accidentally wreck him. And, 2 third place finishes in a row is honestly really good for us. And yeah.
That's a great run for you. So I was going to ask you, when that wreck happened, through, I guess, 3 and 4 as it's happening, was your thoughts just to dive to the bottom and just hope you got through it, or what was going through your head?
Yeah, I was hoping Michael was going to just go up the track just a little bit, leave just enough room for me to get under there and get a run, and that didn't happen. And I got right to his bumper. I think I actually did make a little bit of contact with him, but I didn't want to wreck him, so I did kind of let off a little bit. And I feel like that little bit of let off kind of cost me any shot I had at the win, so I was just kind of gunning for second at that point. Got really close to it, but yeah, I mean, if there was just any extra room there on the bottom, I would have dived to it as soon as I possibly could.
All right, well, great run tonight. You said back-to-back P3s fares really well for you in the point standings. We've got a couple weeks off here, and then we're coming back for the schedule. Is there a track you're most looking forward to at the end of the schedule?
Man, I'm trying to think of one I could possibly put together for the vote, but I I don't really know yet, but I am looking forward to Auto Club though.
Again, that's a great track. Well, listen, great job tonight. Anyone you want to say thank you to, or make note that they make things happen for you?
Yeah, of course. I want to thank Andrew Schulte and Cooper Glick, my two SKS co-owners. Harry Grindel, my good friend, he finished pretty well here. Huge thanks to you guys for putting this on, and yeah.
All right. Well, listen, great job tonight. We'll see you in the new year, and we'll see you at our fan vote or our driver vote track.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, that's William Schmidt P3 tonight, Evan. Wow, for a race that we thought maybe was going to, be obvious at what points, it's really, that's the craziest race so far, ending-wise, in RSR IceBreaker Winter Series.
And it's been a while since we've had a rivalry of sorts, and I think anytime you get an eNASCAR caliber driver in a Malik Ray or a Seth the Merchant who's been close to those same ranks, the Michael Guests, I mean, anytime you can consistently see them go head-to-head, I think it's a rivalry by default, right? We saw that with Agnell and Andrew back when they were fighting head-to-head for titles. You even go back to the Andrew Friedosh and Daniel Eberhard days back from 4 or 5 years ago in RSR. But the Malik Ray and Seth the Merchant drama, the rivalry, whatever you want to call it, I'm here for it. And I know Malik Ray not happy about how that one ended. He had said in the sim, I passed you clean. Am I missing something? Right? Didn't really understand where the shunt came from. You heard Seth's perspective on that one, that he was just kind of overcompensating him for the two tires and had missed the corner. But Seth the Merchant has finished first, second so far. So he's well out in front of the championship, despite feeling like he lost out on this one after the contact with Malik Ray. But, we'll get an opportunity to reset. Derek, all I hope is that 2-week break before we come back for the driver vote race does not simmer things down at all.
No, likely, depending on who you are, that 2-week break is just a great 2 weeks to let things fester in your head and remember what happened at the end of this raid here. So we get the driver vote, Charlotte, Auto Club, and Atlanta to finish this thing out before February begins. Well, Evan, it's been a great first half of the season. My first time working with RSR. I've had a blast. Want to make sure I stop and say Merry Christmas to you and your family and Happy New Year.
Likewise, and appreciate you being a part of the team. We appreciate all of you at home as well tuning in and joining us. It's been a long season of racing on the 2023 calendar here with RealSimRacing and RaceSpotTV. But as we always say, until next time, that is it for us here tonight from iRacing's virtual Homestead Miami Speedway. On behalf of our entire team at RealSimRacing, RaceSpotTV, and for our broadcast team tonight, for Derek Watson and myself, Evan Pasoko, I want to thank you for tuning in and congratulate Michael Guest, who is in RSR Victory Lane. We'll be back on the other side of the New Year and Christmas break on January the 8th for the driver vote round number 5. That race and every race of the RealSimRacing IceBreaker Winter Series can be found exclusively here on RaceSpotTV. Till next time, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year.